All right. Anyway, welcome to ministry. This is Tiny Dominguez. I am the family pastor at Calvary Baptist Church. Also, I pastor Community Heights Church here in Lubbock, and I am excited to for this episode. As always, I have with me the man, the myth, the legend in his own mind, Joshua Brown. But today we have a special guest who will officially be on staff as of Sunday. Miss, what was your name again, ma'am?
Tiffany Davis.
Tiffany Davis. Mm-hmm. So we're very excited. She'll be coming on our staff as our children's minister, and we are excited that she agreed to come in a few days early and be a part of our podcast. So we're going to talk with her a little bit, kind of talk about the making connections here at church, her passion for sharing the gospel, her passion for missions, and how we see all that implementing with our with our children's ministry. But with that, one of the first things that we always do, Tiff, is we talk about our week. So, Josh, how was last week? I was on vacation. I left you in charge. And the church is still not.
The church is still standing, so I didn't burn it down. You're welcome, everyone.
That's surprising.
What can I say? I try my best when I can. Man, what was? I'm trying to even think. Last week, that felt like forever
last week,
ago.
From what I hear, Josh did a lot of cleaning.
I did
out of closets for us and storages, and kind of went through and threw things away.
I did.
And so organized things. We'll say that he organized things, because if people start noticing,
I didn't throw things away.
There we go. Because if you notice it's gone, you're going to get mad.
I put them elsewhere.
Yes. And it might have been the dumpster. But you and Trace did the podcast.
We did the podcast last week. What did we talk about?
Apparently me a lot.
We didn't talk about you a lot.
I think it was
about you.
I know it's not, but apparently Put Down Tiny Hour was last week.
Listen, we just have to tell Corey that he did
Corey is
a job.
A blessing. Corey is an amazing minister and a preacher.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, and so I'm always grateful for his sermons.
He did a great job.
So, and I don't even rank our
That's what I was
preachers.
telling him.
He does. So anyway,
it's not me. Corey ranked him on Sunday, not me.
And then Josh affirmed him.
I did.
So we can play back the podcast.
I mean, I can
you
tell you
said he was number 2.
I did say he was number 2.
Okay, so then you rank us.
Okay, just him. Just Corey.
So, anyway, so pray for Josh. But Josh, we have a lot of stuff going on this week and for this month.
Yeah.
We're in June.
I know.
It's crazy.
That's wild.
June. So with it being in June, we got Tiffany starting. We have camp coming up in a few days.
Father's Day as well.
Father's Day coming up.
GA camp blooms at the end of the month.
Yep, we have a lot of things going on.
There's all kinds of crazy things.
You want to share anything about youth camp?
Somehow the people keep showing up. Numbers keep rising, even though we've said, hey. Anyway, excited for that though. We still have a couple more spots because we intend on people doing this. Shout out to you late people. Way to go. Keep us on our toes. Appreciate that.
Just to let y'all know, for me, we do D-Now at the end of February, 1st of March. Josh was wanting to promote as soon as we were done with D-Now.
Yeah.
He wanted to start promoting camp. And my experience with ministry and stuff, I was like, well, let's go one more month and then we'll start promoting it, because it's not going to matter till the last week anyway, because that's when everyone's going to sign up. So, but for those of you who have pre-registered and already paid,
you're the real champs.
Thank you. You're the real MVP. And for those of you who are still planning on coming or wondering if you should come, by all means, let us know. We still have spots available, and we'd love to have you here. So, and have you go with us to camp. So just let us know, okay? And again, one of the things we say is don't let finances be an issue. The Lord has provided some assistance as needed, and we will be able to help out. Yep. Just talk to me or talk to Josh so we can get that all situated. And so and then Father's Day will be that Sunday that we leave for camp,
June 15th.
So we have a big celebration for our dads. here at church. So we're going to have breakfast between worship and community groups. We're going to have a drawing. Dads, you will get a gift as you leave the worship center. After worship, you'll get a ticket for the drawing, and then you'll win. One of y'all will take home a very nice prize. So that's what we have planned for.
You say nice
for
prize. You're
Father's
talking
Day.
like a car.
Duh.
Card. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta
Add the
you gotta
D
say
on
that
there.
right.
The
Yeah.
card. Okay.
So it's a coloring book that we have bought.
Fantastic. Love
And
that.
so halfway filled out. But,
Ooh.
yeah, we got it at the mission. So,
Love that.
so anyway, but no, it will be a very nice gift that we'll have for our dads. And who knows, maybe we'll have two. So we'll be able to do those out on that day. Trying to think anything else we have. And then we have our family picnic on the lawn at the end of the month.
29th.
One of the things that our family enrichment team wanted to do was make an emphasis on, try to at least, for every fifth Sunday, to do something for our church to connect and to get guests connected with people, to get different generations that just kind of go to their classes, community groups, and then they don't know other people in our church. So we want to have fellowships. And so at the end of June, we are going to have a picnic on the lawn. We'll have cornhole, some other games. We'll have sandwiches that the church will provide. We have tea and water. And then we're asking our church families that are going to be attending to bring sides, picnic sides, and to bring desserts to share for that picnic. We'll be here from after community groups until you get tired and ready to go home. So, and for those of you who are like, I do not want to be outside, we will have shade, and we also have an inside with air conditioning. So just don't let that scare you from being a part and coming in and being a part of our community that day. So I guess that's all we have. So thanks for being a part. Tiff, thanks for coming. We really enjoyed having you. Just kidding. All right. So
Yeah, that's it. We're done. That's what we talk about.
So we have Tiffany here. We're excited. I'm not going to make her share her testimony. Poor girl, to get where she is with us here, she probably had to share 16 times.
It was.
There are some people who know me better at this point than I know my own testimony.
Right. And so she did a fantastic job of sharing. But one of the things I really appreciated, Tiff, is that as you shared, even though the story of your life story really didn't change, I love your heart, and I love that you're very sincere when you share this. Can you, I guess, what helps you draw closer to God? What helps you with your relationship with God? We have our student ministry. We have a lot of young ladies who are in our group. Matter of fact, our group is actually a majority girls.
Let's go.
And so with that, and then with our children ministry, we have a lot of preteens who are young ladies. But I think one of the things with your testimony is, I think it'd be an encouragement for them, but also for young men that need to learn how to draw closer to Christ.
Yeah.
What are some things that you do that helps you draw closer to Christ?
Yeah. First thing is, when I think back on like sharing my testimony so many times, like that was emotionally draining in a way. Because they're just hard parts of life that we walk through and learn from. But at the same time, that was such a sweet reminder of God's faithfulness in the past. And so I think it's really important to like recognize the way that God has moved and is moving, so that we can put our faith and hope continually in Him, because it's really easy for us in our flesh to forget the ways that God has moved. And so remembering His faithfulness, being in the Word every day, and something that has helped me so much is in college and after college, the thing that has changed my relationship with God a lot is being honest with Him. It's really easy to act like everything's okay and have the perfect prayers, and at least try to. And especially growing up in the church, sometimes we have an idea of what a good Christian is supposed to look like, but truly bringing what's actually going on in my raw, honest feelings to God, not that perfect prayer. And just seeing that, like, God is my friend, like He wants that, and He loves when I bring my full heart. And so just relating to God like that has been really helpful.
I really like what you just shared. How do you come to God raw? How do you come to God with sincere, with anger, with frustration, with hurt? Especially for those kids who have grown up in church, who almost feel like being real with God's a sin. How do we overcome that and be what you just said?
Yeah, I think the first thing is knowing that God will never be disappointed in you. Like, you can never change how God views you. A lot of times that was my own barrier, was I would do something or want to bring something to God and just have this image of him like being disappointed in me, and had to like stop and relearn, like, he knows what my heart is. He knew everything that I was going to experience, everything I was going to do before he died on the cross for me. Like, he took everything into account, and so his love could never change because of something that I said, something I did, or something I even brought to him. So having that reminder of his constant faithfulness and character, and then just trusting in his character. Like, if we know that he is patient, if we know that he is kind, if we know that he is loving and that he wants all of us, just trusting in that part of him and knowing that he can handle all the big things. Like, there is no limit to our God. We can't say that he can't handle some of our emotions. Like, he wants it all, and our emotions are not wrong. We as a society even have good emotions and bad emotions, but all of emotions were created by God, not so that they run our life, but that we could run back to God with those emotions. And so that's our faithful response. If I'm feeling angry, if I'm feeling frustrated or sad, or all these things that we label as negative, they're to drive me to God and respond in his presence, not reacting through my actions or my words with other people.
Thank you. Man, I really enjoyed your answer, Josh. With you growing up in a Christian home, and you know, where you were in high school and struggling. You know, you've shared your testimony a little bit briefly on our podcast, but you've shared with our students. How have you drawn closer to God as a young man since you became, I guess, had the face-to-face with him, we'll say? What has helped you to continue to draw closer to God?
And I think, part of what you was saying, too, of the just coming to God when you are mad. Honestly, even this morning, I'm frustrated with some things in my life that I have no control over, but going to God and just being like, God, I don't know even what these emotions are. Like, it brings something out of me that I know is not right, and it's not what I should feel, and I don't know how to deal with it. And so honestly, just going to God in those moments of, I'm upset about this, I don't know why I'm upset, and God, I need you to, intervene on my behalf, because I can't do it. I can't do it by myself. And just coming to that realization in my life, in every situation of, I'm not in control. I think a lot of that's for me. I wouldn't say I have an issue with control, but
I do.
Yeah.
No.
And I would say you do. But
I think a lot of times, though, when things happen that are either out of my control or was not the intention of how I thought it was going to go or should have gone, I get really upset, and I'm like, why is this happening? But then just coming to the realization that, like, God's timing is perfect. God is in control of everything at all times, and at times you just got to sit there and say, God, I don't know why this is happening. I don't know the reasoning behind it. Obviously, it's for a reason. It's for your purpose, and just realizing that. I think that's hard. But I'd say growing up, I had a little bit of that. Like Corey was saying, mission trips, there's no planning sometimes, or it feels like there's no planning, when in reality there is. Growing up with that mindset too, I think that's also helped a little bit of, I could go on a mission trip and I can know the quote-unquote overview of it, but the reality is things are going to happen, things are going to change. You got to be flexible. And so bringing that into just my daily life too.
That's a good word.
Of God's in control. I might have something planned, but something's probably going to change. And so.
Yeah. And I just think about with your, I know Josh's dad very well. He used to be a friend of mine, and he used to like me. But
You used to?
yeah, I guess he don't call me no more, Donnie. So anyway, but one of the things is that, your dad would plan for these mission trips.
Right.
And then y'all would go, and everything changed.
Yeah.
And it was nothing on your side.
Right.
Everything on. I remember one time, you were young. I think you were probably still in you might have been junior high when they used to go to Alaska to do the football camp.
Yeah, those were fun.
Yeah, and I remember one time they were planning on going and working with this certain group that they had worked with the year before, and when your dad got there, they had to go to a new place, teach a whole new group of kids. Yeah. So it was way different, and so everything they had planned, they adjusted. But the thing that remained the same was the gospel.
Right.
And I think one of the things in our life that we have to remember is, when all of us, we have the gospel that we're able to fall back on. And I know in church, that word gets thrown around a lot. But it means that we have the truth of that God sent his son, Jesus, to die on the cross for us because we are sinners. And it redeemed us. And that Jesus loves us so much that death couldn't keep him down.
Yeah.
That he rose from the grave and he sits on his throne so that we will never be forsaken. That's the promise. That's what the gospel is. And I think when we learn to live our life and remember when all of us, we have the gospel, that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
It's not trying to sound theological or to sound like we're so above everyone, but to understand, hey, it's because of where we are and where we've been that we find peace in who Jesus is. So talking about the gospel, with both of y'all, I noticed that's a passion that both of y'all have in sharing and going and to different places, and even with your ministries, Tiffany, you with our children, Josh with our students. What are how can I ask this? First, what made you so passionate about the gospel that you wanted to share it? Because I think a lot of Christians lose that passion or never really understood the passion of it. And then how do you see that implementing into your ministry at Calvary? So whichever one of you wants to go first.
And ladies first, or?
Sure. Okay. I became a Christian when I was 6 years old, and I will always say I had a very imperfect view of the gospel, just because when you're 6, you can't really wrap your mind around that. But I knew enough to be saved, and I know that I was saved right then. I was really blessed to have an awesome youth pastor who would continually push us into situations where we shared the gospel. And so I know for me, that's where part of that passion comes from, because you can know the gospel and believe in Jesus, but I'm a full believer, like with anything, even with school things, if I can be able to say it out loud in my words, like it clicks like nothing else. And so once I was able to like have words to articulate God's love for us as much as we can understand, and what the gospel means, not just for other people, but sitting back and being like, this is what the gospel is for me. I was separated from Christ and nothing I could do could get me there, but God. He loved me so much that he sent his son to carry all of my sin, all of my shame, and had joy doing so because he saw me fully clothed in him. And so just being able to articulate the gospel and also see it change lives. Like the first mission trip that I went on was when I was in high school, and I went to Germany and got to share the gospel with two college students from China who had never even heard about God or the Bible, and just seeing just the power of the gospel. The more that we share it, even over our own lives and over other people, just like reminding ourselves and being rooted in just the power of what we're speaking, that this isn't a story, this is a life-changing reality.
And how do you plan to see that passion that you have for the gospel, how do you plan to see that implemented in your ministry here at Calvary? Yeah,
well, just speaking it over and over with the students. The kids, I don't think they are students, they go to school, but it's not something that gets old. Everything in the story and the Bible points back to the story of Jesus in the gospel. And so staying rooted in that, not just learning Bible stories, but what does this say about Jesus? How does this point back to the goodness of the gospel? And just being an encouragement that no matter how young they are, they can share their faith with other people. They are a part of the kingdom. They're not the church of tomorrow. They are the church. And so getting to share that and just leaning back in the verse of like, train children in the way that they should go, and when they're old, they will not depart from it. And I know that's a verse that we use a lot of time with parenting, but we get to be a part of that too. I have the joy and the honor of partnering alongside God to speak life over these kids and into them, and just trusting the Holy Spirit to move and work in that, both now and as I continue walking with him in the future.
Very, very cool. Josh?
I think my love for the gospel honestly came from a lot of the mission work that I did growing up, with my dad being the BSM director at Wayland and going to events like that, but then also going on mission trips. And I think the one particular one that gets me is when I got to college and I did Beach Reach, just going down there and pouring into the lives of college students whose lives were a complete mess, that they had honestly nothing to live for, to the point of, I'm going to go get drunk and see what happens, and if I die, I die type of situations. And I think just seeing how, honestly just saying, hey, how are you doing today? Like, more than just, oh, I've had a drink, I'm doing good. More than that, going deeper into, like, how are you? Do you know, have you met my Savior? Have you met the man who can give you that peace that you're looking for, that you're trying to drown out with alcohol? Have you had an experience with him? Just trying to relate to them in that way. And I think through that, it honestly gave me the true love for the gospel, and sharing it and doing mission works with people. Going over Padre, you cross this bridge, and it's one of those moments when you're crossing it, and I it's hard to explain, but it's one of those, like, as you cross it, no matter what anyone's doing in the van, we'll be laughing, joking around. You get about halfway over that bridge, and it's just complete silence, because it's one of those moments where you're like, Satan is alive and well here, and you can feel the presence. And so knowing that, like, there's lost people out there, and the crazy thing is there's hope. I say crazy. The cool thing is there's hope, and it's a matter of sharing. And I even told the kids on Sunday, what were we talking about Sunday? I'm trying to remember. It was, hold on, I'll remember it. No, I won't.
Okay, we talked about Proverbs.
I know. Hey, I know.
Sorry.
I was trying to think of Sunday school, because I said something about that of...
Genesis? We're just still in Genesis?
No, we're at the end of Exodus. No, we're in Exodus. We're right before the Israelites are headed to the Promised Land, and they're complaining about this and this per usual, and they've gotten bit by snakes. And Moses goes to the Lord and says, hey, they're bitten by snakes, and God says, all right, I need you to make this snake, hold it up on a stick. Anyone who looks at it will be healed from their snake bite. And it made me stop and realize that, like, how dumb would it be for people to hear that and then be like, I'm good. I'll deal with my illness. I'll deal with my sickness. But then again, to say, how many people heard Moses say, hey, you need to look at the snake, and then they didn't go tell their neighbor, hey, if you want to be healed from the snake bite, you got to go look at the snake, right? The same is true with the gospel, right? We have the good news. We have the thing that is life-giving. We have that source, but we don't go and tell people. Like, how dumb are we to not try to share that with people who are lost? And so it was one of those things that I did to that. As far as how I enjoy doing it in student ministry, I think for me in my life, my youth days, I did a lot of stupid things. I think looking back now, it was no fault of anyone other than myself and the work of Satan, but there's so much potential in youth to do this or this. You have a bajillion different options. You can go this way, you can go this way. And so to me, though, I think it's cool because I honestly think like that age group is where you grow a lot spiritually. You either mature or you don't mature. And you do a lot in college too, but I think a lot happens in those youth days. And so trying to pour into the lives of those kids, there's potential to be great spiritual leaders as they go to college or as they go into whatever that walk of life is. And I think giving them the opportunities to grow in that is really important. And so showing them, hey, here's ways that we can grow, here's ways that you can grow, here's ways that you can lead others, here's ways that you can teach others and stuff like that, I think is really a huge thing for me because, like I said, I had that when I was younger, I just didn't pay attention to it. And so
a couple of things that come to mind with both of y'all. First one is, when you were sharing about what you talked about Sunday with how many of them, how foolish it would have been for them to see their neighbors still suffering and not tell them, hey, look at the snake.
Right.
Look at what Moses is holding so you can be healed. The sin of the desert, which is a phrase that they say is knowing where water is and not telling a traveler that you come across. That's called the sin of the desert. because you're literally sending them to die if you don't tell them where water is. And so I think for us, when we don't share with the gospel and point our life to Jesus, we're doing the sin of the desert to our neighbors. And so we've got to be be mindful of that and understand that we're called to show Jesus in everything we do. And so I'm excited to hear that in our children's ministry and in our student ministry, our leaders have that mindset and that focus for that. And so it makes me excited for the future of Calvary and where we'll be headed with your passions for the gospel. How do you see that impact globally? Yes, you're here at Calvary, but how do you see that global impact happening from your ministries here to reaching the world as we're called to do? So, Josh, I'm going to let you start that one because Tiffany has started every other one.
I don't have time to think now. I just have to be on the spot. Honestly, it makes me think of this morning in the staff meeting, Dr. Rush was talking about how he gave a missionary guy in town one of his chairs. And then a couple weeks ago, he got a picture of this guy with another guy. And in the background is his chair. And he's talking about how he just led this guy to Christ. And his chair also happens to be there.
I'll give you some background with that. Dr. Rush had shared about a person who we know that they give furniture to international students when they're in need. And so Dr. Rush donated a chair that goes in the living room for whoever he could give it to. And a few days ago, the guy sent Dr. Rush a picture, and it was of a guy who had made a decision for Christ, and in the background was the chair.
That's awesome.
So just kind of that cool connection,
Right.
Of that there's a purpose behind what we're doing.
Right. Thinking on that, right, as we minister to students within the youth or the church, for that matter, right, we don't always see the global impact, even though there is one. I know there's students out there who will indeed go into missions at some point, or they'll go on a mission trip at some point, or they'll even go live somewhere for a study abroad or whatever. And I think just pouring into them, having the mindset of the gospel mindset of no matter where I'm at, right, there's people around me who need to hear about the Lord, that they need to hear the good news. And so I think putting that mindset into their minds that no matter where they go, that's there. I don't know if I will ever see global impact of ministry that I've done here, if I'll hear about it. But I have faith that it will happen.
That's a good word too, Josh. I like that. We're not called to be the people who get to see it.
Right.
Sometimes we are blessed and we get to, but we're called to be people who share with that intention. Yeah. So I think that's what
my old Sunday school teachers from back home, they are missionaries in the DR. And so I get to keep up with them, which is super cool, and they do a lot of cool work over there. Dominican Republic, sorry. I have some friends who are over there right now, hanging out with them, but that's a cool story for me. I love doing work with them too, so maybe one day we'll go to the Dominican and work with them.
Tiff, same question.
What was the question? I was just listening. I wasn't thinking.
It's okay. The question was, how do you see what you're doing here have a global impact?
So it's not
with the gospel.
It's not just a guy thing that we don't listen, right? It's
right.
I was listening so intently. I said I was listening. I just wasn't thinking about my own
to me
answer.
when I asked the question.
I gotta get it.
Okay, guys. Anyways, yeah, I think that I get really excited when I think about that. I think something cool that I get to do in my position is open kids up to just the possibility of sharing the gospel around the world and widening their world, not just from around right here, because it can feel like this is your world, this is your space, but kind of opening their minds to like we have a whole world,
Yeah.
and that everyone needs the gospel. And so I also get the privilege of praying over the kids that come through, that some of them are sent overseas. In high school, I told my parents that I would never live in America. And here I am in America, not only that, but still in Lubbock. So that's, I know. And just something that the Lord did with my heart is like, my passion for missions does not mean that I will be living in another country.
Yeah.
Jesus left the 99 for the one, so truly my ministry is for the one. Like, if one person comes to know Christ through my ministry, like, glory to God. Like, I'm not promised fruit, like y'all are saying. My call is to be obedient and to have joy in that obedience. I lost my train of thought of where I was going with that.
Global impact.
Yes, thank you. But I don't have to be the one to go around the globe and share the gospel. Like, if I am someone who is able to be here and send people out, whether that is praying for these kids to grow up and share the gospel, or praying for people who I know that are on mission and have our kids pray for them, like, the gospel is still being magnified through that. And so just still understanding that I can be here in this one town, in this one church, and still be partnering with God in his global mission.
You know, just affirming what both of y'all said, and listen to my whole story, because it really impacted me, the end part, not what I want to say. But I used to be in charge of an event called Congreso that really had thousands of kids come to it. I would preach several times at that event, not because just because of the scheduling, but one of the things that happened was in my final years of it, not the final year, but close, a pastor asked to pray for me with all the kids that were there in attendance, and there was a few thousand there. And as he prayed for me, he said, and Lord Jesus, thank you for that person who shared the gospel with Tiny, because of the impact that I, with the ministry of that thing. And I cried, because someone took time to share the gospel with me, not because they thought, well, one day he's going to be leading a thing that has thousands of kids going, and he's going to travel to camps, and he's going to be working at churches, and he's going to be doing this stuff. They shared with me because they had a love for me, and they wanted me to love their Jesus. And they had no idea what the impact, how many more people were going to come to know Jesus because they shared with me. I always... one of my favorite stories, I don't know if it's true or not, but they say when Billy Graham, that there was a preacher, and he preached a revival, and it was a big crusade, and that when he did the altar call, only one little boy came. And, and everyone would kind of thought, oh, wow, he did all this effort, and only one little boy. Well, that little boy was Billy Graham, who led more people, to the gospel than anyone in the history of the world. But someone took time to share the gospel in his hometown, where he found Jesus. Yeah. We don't know the lives, and we don't share for the reason of, well, one day they're going to impact millions, like Billy Graham. We share because we want them to have that hope, so that they can share. Because for me, it's going to be awesome the day Ruth comes to know Jesus because of what her mom and dad taught her, and she said yes to Jesus. The day your niece, because of your family impact, will come to know Jesus. For me, my nieces and nephews all know the Lord and have made professions of faith because of us sharing the gospel with them. I think those are, we don't know what their life holds, but we know that Jesus now holds their life because of the gospel. And that's our goal, for this, is to be able to see those things happen in our ministries and here at Calvary, to have that impact. Final question. Before we do funny stories, we always do a funny story.
Oh, good.
At the end. So we'll let you start it. But final question is this. What in word of encouragement, when it comes to Josh, for parents with students, with teenagers, Tiff with children, parents with children, what word of encouragement could you give them for how they are with their in sharing the gospel and sharing Jesus with their children.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Oh, good. This is probably kids as well, so don't steal what I'm about to say.
Well, you might be stealing what I'm going to say, so.
Anyway,
I know, I really should have. Can I?
should have.
It's going to be this is going to be great to be leading these two. Just want you to know. I'll be reffing a lot of fights, it looks like. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Your kids are watching you, whether you realize it or not. Growing up, like I said, my dad doing BSM stuff. I watched him do ministry for years. I also watched him set time aside from doing that to spend time with us as a family. And so no matter what he was doing, right, he was pursuing God in ministry. He was pursuing God as a father, as a husband. And so watching my dad and my mom too, growing up, just watching them do what they do. I think it's encouraging, though, to know that if you're serving the Lord in every aspect of it, your kids are seeing that. And at the end of the day, right, they're going to have a heart to do the same just from watching you. And so don't lose heart in that, even though you tell them one thing and they obviously do the other. One day they'll look back and they'll realize, because I'm sure my parents, if they watch this, would say, he didn't listen to a single thing we said in his high school career. But I did pay attention to you guys, so.
Yeah, that was actually part of what I was going to say, is that you're watching.
Let's go.
But I do have more than that.
Okay, go ahead.
They're listening too.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
They're listening.
Yes, they are listening. Yeah. My encouragement is just, it typically isn't a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be really awesome if I sat someone down and shared the gospel with them for the first time and they got it. And some people do, but especially with your kids and with your students, it's going to be an over and over and over thing, and that's going to stick with them. And so don't lose heart, have perseverance, and just keep speaking truth over them. The Bible says that the word is living and active and it never returns void. So continue speaking truth over your children, even if it seems like they're not listening or they're not getting it right now. God uses that word that they hear and that's spoken over them, and he's actively using that to change their hearts. So keep living it out, keep sharing the gospel with them, the good news of Jesus. Even if they have surrendered their life to Christ, remind them of the love that Jesus continually has for them.
Very good words. One of the last thing I wanted to share with y'all is something that Josh had mentioned about how teenagers, the access to sin and how hard life is now for our students is so different now. One of the things I wanted to share with y'all was when I first started in youth ministry, people considered the hardest year where kids transition the most was 18 to 19. Mm-hmm. That because of most of them going to college or getting a full-time job, a lot of them learned how to pay their own bills, handle things. They were in relationships, things like that. A lot of maturity happened. The difference, a lot of access to sin was in that age. So one of the goals in our student ministry was to prepare our students that when they got to that age, they would make good decisions. Yeah. Well, today, that's changed to the access to sin, the struggles has gone from 14 to 15, from 8th grade to high school. So it's no longer trying to prepare kids for when they go to college, but how to deal with, for children, how to handle being godly when they go into student ministry, but teaching our students how to remain faithful to the gospel truth. Yeah. And so those are the goals that we'll be having as we minister here at Calvary. We want to remind you that we are here to minister to our families, and that doesn't just mean if you have a child that we're here for you. It means if you are a member of Calvary, we are here for you. We are the body of Christ. We are brothers and sisters, and we want to be encouraging to everyone here that comes to Calvary Baptist Church. If you enjoyed our podcast, click the like button, follow us. Josh is really sad we haven't gotten a lot of followers. If you have a word of encouragement or you would like to leave a comment to welcome Tiffany, please do so on our YouTube page. We'd love to hear back from y'all. last thing we do is a funny story about ministry. So, with Tiffany being here, Tiffany, do you have any funny stories?
I'm kind of loaded up right now. I just got back from a youth camp taking 120 students to camp, so I could tell stories.
Okay. The rules are
They have to be appropriate.
they have to be appropriate.
Right.
Yeah. No names,
No names.
unless it's mine or Josh's, or yours.
Right.
And what else can we say? Go at it.
Okay, one of the first ones that comes to mind, which is really just funny. So our girls in our guys' dorms, we went to Glorietta, so it's a big camp, and so our girls were on one side, our guys were on the other, and we brought a golf cart for me, and so I at night would be zooming back and forth because I would get to one side and the guys would ask for something, and so I would drive over to the guys and the girls would ask for something. So I'm going back and forth, and I get a phone call halfway through. One of our lady leaders were like, I have a student, she fell down, she hit her elbow earlier, she said it's been hurting, but now she can't move it. So I'm thinking she can't move
Fantastic.
it. But one of our guy leaders is a paramedic, and we brought him on purpose. And so I hop in my cart and I drive over and I grab him. I'm telling him what's going on. He's asking me questions. I'm like, all I know is she fell, she hit it, now she can't move it. So we get to the girl's side, and this leader walks out with this little girl who jumps out and puts two peace hands up, and she's like, hey. And he looked at her and was like, it's not you. And she said, no, I really hurt my elbow. She said, I can barely move it. And we were like, that's full range of motion. And she's like, I promise it hurts. So he gave her one ibuprofen and said, go to bed.
She said 200 milligrams later, I'm feeling great. That's a good one. Oh my.
She was a sixth grade going into seventh grade.
I like her.
Yes.
I like her. I don't know who it is.
That's a
but I like
fun
her.
one.
One of the things that we did, we were at Glorietta last year, and I took a golf cart, not for the children, for me. And but Paul or Corey would drive it, and there's a sidewalk that goes from the worship center kind of all the way to the other side of the swimming pond.
I never went on that sidewalk.
We lived on it.
Oh.
And kids were jumping out of the way. And by the way, we shouldn't have been, we're not supposed to be on there. But for some reason, that's Paul and Corey. And I'll say their names. Were constantly taking me down there. And the whole time I'm just like, I cannot believe we're doing this. I cannot. I mean,
Yeah.
kids are jumping out of the
Oh,
way.
yeah.
Oh, I
of us.
definitely had the mindset that any pedestrian's supposed to get out of my way, and I understand that that's not how it's supposed to work. But I'd be driving, I'd be like, on your left, move! And the last day I stopped to let people cross the road.
Aw,
I know.
that's nice.
So nice.
it
From a
was so
legal
nice.
standpoint, pedestrians do always have the right of way.
If I yell at them and tell them to move and
Unless
they
the
move, I
cops
can still
think they're
go.
jaywalking.
Do what?
Unless a police officer thinks they're jaywalking.
Gosh.
No one was endangered.
Good.
That's good.
So, well, I have a confession. We were going to do this, but I think it'd be funnier just to confess. Josh, what were we going to do the first day on staff meeting
Oh gosh.
with Tiffany?
Oh,
We
no.
talked about doing the Pledge of Allegiance or something, like standing up and I pledge just to see how you would react during staff meeting. So if we all do something super weird next week,
Now I'm going to know.
you'll know.
Yeah,
Y'all just ruined that
You
for
can-
yourselves.
you can
that's why
question
that's why I
it. That's what I
decided
tell
to
you.
tell you. Because that way, because
would've
it's
been-
easy. We've seen it on Reels.
That would have
Yeah.
been funny.
We need to.
We need to come up with something better. Yeah. We need to up it.
I
up
believe
it.
in you. That would have
Yeah.
been funny. It
would've been funny, but
you
we-
don't know
I
what I would have
don't, I
done.
don't know where the
with that.
flag would have been, but
Put it on the TV.
yeah, or something. I don't know.
You could have been in on it.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Josh and I will work on
Listen,
something.
we could still do that with Tori or someone.
That makes me feel very welcome.
But she's already been here for a while. Yeah, we were trying to figure out something to do, but everyone's done that. I mean, we've seen several reels
That's
on
true.
that. So we decided, we'll go ahead and just tell you we were going to do it. But anyway, so Josh, you have anything you want to share? Funny story or last minute announcement?
I'm good.
If you owe Josh forms, turn them in.
If you owe me money, just kidding. You don't owe me money. You're the church money.
Yeah, if you
turn
need to
that
pay,
into.
and if you need help financially, let us know. We would love to be an assistance to y'all. So, Tiffany, we're excited you're on staff.
Thank you.
You are a delight, and I know you'll be a blessing to Calvary. And I know personally you've already been a blessing to me. So we're excited for you.
I'm excited to be
Josh, thanks for being here. So, no, Josh is a blessing too. All right, guys, with that being said, we are out. See y'all next week.